not allowed to follow or be in pursuit of a vehicle unless the suspect driving that vehicle is wanted for a violent felony. I can tell you this pursuit started in Rockwall, now going on half an hour. The suspect who was driving the blue Dodge Charger, now the passenger in this white vehicle being driven by another suspect, driving recklessly on Hampton Road. This is in the West Dallas area. And for those of you watching, we want to let you know that we've got this pursuit on delay. Should anything violent happen, you never know with these situations what could happen at a moment's notice. So just so that you know, we have it on a delay. And again, for those of you just joining us, we've got the Dallas Sheriff's Office and at least one Dallas police unit following behind what has now become a reckless driver. All right, we are now near Pinkston High School. This is in an industrial area there of West Dallas. All right. He's in the cul-de-sac there. Oh boy, he's now on a trail in a park there. Kings Trail Park, driving Kings Bridge Park. All right. Now, all right. These two suspects have now arrived at Pinkston High School. We see that one suspect, it appears to be Pinkston High School. The suspect has exited that white vehicle. He is carrying a baby in a car seat, and he has run onto that campus. He has run onto the campus of what we believe is Pinkston High School. A suspect who has led police on a chase for the last half hour got out of that white vehicle carrying a baby in a car seat and ran into that building there, which we are confirming right now that this suspect has run into. All right, we've got 1, 2, 3 now. All right, Rebecca Lopez joins us now live by phone. Rebecca, you've been talking with contacts. What's the latest from your end? Rebecca Lopez?
She dropped.
All right. Crime and justice reporter Rebecca Lopez joins us now with information she's getting from sources in law enforcement. Okay, we lost Rebecca Lopez. For those of you just joining us, we've got a very serious situation here. We have a suspect carrying a baby in a car seat who has run onto the campus of what we believe is a school, with several law enforcement officers running in behind that suspect. The suspect was the passenger in a white vehicle after having led law enforcement officers on a pursuit from Rockwall. They weaved in and out of neighborhoods in Dallas and then picked up by the driver of another vehicle, a white vehicle, and ended up here at what we believe is a high school campus. This is all right, we believe that this campus is Early Head Start at Lake West. Okay, this is at Vickers with a B and Goldman Street. Rebecca, bring us up to speed with what you've learned from sources.
Well, I basically know kind of what you do because, typically most of my sources are Dallas police, but I was talking to an officer who said that it looks like the SWAT channel for DPD is getting active, and they may be bringing in Dallas SWAT, which would not be unusual in a situation like this. Apparently, this did start off as a stolen vehicle chase out of Rockwall that made its way through Garland and then into Dallas. So Dallas police will not chase a vehicle if it is not wanted for, the person is not wanted for a violent felony, or they believe that that vehicle was used in a violent felony. So they would not necessarily get in. So you might have seen some police officers following without their lights and sirens, but that's because
all right,
at that
we
point
believe,
it was just a
Rebecca,
stolen
we
car.
believe, Rebecca, that the suspect is in custody. He is
Okay.
walking out peacefully, Rebecca, with several officers surrounding him. We can tell you that is the suspect who we saw enter the early Head Start at Lake West campus carrying a baby in the car seat. But the great news here so far is that that suspect seems to be behaving peacefully as he is taken into custody by several law enforcement officers here at Early Head Start at Lake West. Again, this is at Bickers and Goldman Street in the West Dallas area. Tanya Iser will be joining us here in just a few moments. She has a lot of contacts in law enforcement, but there you see that suspect who was initially driving a car, a stolen vehicle out of Garland, now being taken into custody, in police custody there at the Early Head Start at Lake West campus. And we believe that is the other suspect. The other suspect who was driving the vehicle, the second vehicle involved in this chase. He had picked up the first suspect. When the first suspect came to a stop, he jumped into the white vehicle driven by that second suspect there, and they ended up here in West Dallas, Tanya. Have you been able to talk with any law enforcement officers?
No, honestly, Izzy, I was back there working on something else when they came and grabbed me. This is a pretty wild scene. I don't know that I've seen one in a long time where you have a baby and a car and them chasing a stolen vehicle. You know, in Dallas, they've got a pretty strict chase policy. If this chase had started in Dallas, they don't chase stolen vehicles. So, but of course, we don't. It'd be nice to know a little bit more details about like how this chase started. You know, was it just the stolen vehicle? Does this child belong to this man? Like, what's the child's connection in all this?
And we don't know how the child is doing right now because he entered that building with the child. He exited without the child, without the baby. My prayer is that the baby is fine. We will give you an update on that baby as soon as we learn it. But everyone, at least right now, including law enforcement, appear to be relatively calm there.
Yeah, I mean the situation seems to have calmed down. I mean think about it. I mean what a wild scene. I mean Izzy, we're both parents. I mean if I was the mother of this child, I would be absolutely terrified.
Or the parent of any child at that campus right now.
Well, and that's actually not a campus. I was taking a look at that. It's some sort of Parkland Women's Health type facility that he ran into. I mean, clearly
Head Start.
Early Head Start, yeah.
At Lake West.
Oh, okay. Oh, so I guess they would have children there. Okay.
But again, we'll have to, verify.
Well, and like a lot of these kinds of situations, Izzy, that's it's just really early on, and we're going to be as it moves forward trying to piece together what's happened. What exactly led to the chase? Did police know there was a kid in the car? Were any policies violated here? That's really, there's so many things that we just don't know, and we won't know for a while. But clearly, it appears to have ended safely, and that's really heartening that no one got hurt, that he didn't run into another car. Because was the baby even properly strapped in? Because he moved the baby into a second car, right? Mm-hmm. And so I'm sure he didn't take the time to buckle the car seat in and do all the things, right? So it's pretty amazing that this has ended seemingly pretty safe, and that hopefully that the baby's going to be okay.
And we believe there that is that the car seat that I'm watching? I believe that is the baby there. Officers seem nice and calm, which helps us to feel nice and calm
Yes,
that
yes.
child is okay. Whew.
Absolutely, and you know the officers are not, you don't see them performing any life-saving type, things. So that's good. And obviously, if there was some reason to believe that the baby had been physically harmed, I doubt they would have brought the baby out from inside that facility that the child was in.
Well, this is certainly just a sigh of relief right
Yeah,
now, because
absolutely.
the minute I saw that child, him holding the child and running into that building, that was scary. But it's great to see that the child appears to be okay.
Yeah, and I mean, this is one of those situations that, could have, it's one of those but for, could be a whole lot worse. Seemingly everybody's going to be okay. Of course, this guy is going to be facing a lot of charges. I'm guessing felony evading, endangering a child.
There's another guy as well, Tanya, because the chase started with the suspect in the blue Dodge out of Rockwall, and then when he got to West Dallas, there was that white vehicle that was following close behind him. The white vehicle comes up, pulls up next to him. The guy jumps out of the blue Dodge and gets into the white vehicle.
Was that, and forgive me, Izzy, because I wasn't watching the whole time. Was that white vehicle with him the whole time?
I remember seeing the white vehicle there for several minutes at least. Producers, would you concur with that?
Because that's kind of wild.
Okay.
Did they steal that vehicle? You're writing something down. here.
I-30 westbound is the first time our producer saw the white vehicle come into the picture.
Because you wonder, did he call somebody to come try to help him out? Because that's kind of an unusual. I mean, there's a lot of things that are unusual about this chase. Typically you have a single person in a car. There's a chase. And then they get them pulled over and they get them pulled out. I can't recall the last time we had a baby in a car and then we had a second person join in a chase.
I don't know that we've ever covered a chase like that, Tanya.
No, this is kind of a new one. And I've covered a lot of chases over the years, but this one probably ranks right up there as one of the oddest and thankfully, ending safely seemingly here.
You've got a better vantage point, Ryan, our producer running the show from behind the scenes. Are the suspects, both the suspects, still there on the property, or have they been driven away? Okay. No one driven away yet. They're getting searched right now.
Right, that's kind of standard practice. They're going to, check them out. And then they're going to want to take them down to headquarters, read them their rights, and see if they'll give statements. And explain like what in the world they were doing, why they were, how this other vehicle comes to be involved in the chase. Did they, did he call on the phone and say, "Hey, come help me out"? What happened there, or was that person somehow involved or connected from the start? I don't know about you, but if I was running from the authorities and you were my friend and I called you, I don't think you would
Sure.
come help me, right?
No, not.
I don't feel like that would happen. Yeah,
Not unless, I've got nothing to lose, like this guy apparently felt he had nothing to lose to act in this manner. But I'm just really happy that child is okay. We see that child there in the car seat, surrounded by several law enforcement officers. The heroes, truly, who have
Yeah.
come to the rescue of that child.
Oh yeah, because there's just, as a parent, we all know, like we can imagine all the bad things that could have happened. I mean, if he gets in a wreck during that chase, and the baby's not strapped in.
I want to ask our producers to take the video, Tanya, so that you can see for yourself. This is when he pulls over, the first suspect. He pulls over. He exits the vehicle there, the white, like I said, his buddy there, parked right next to him. He grabs the child, and it was hard to see, puts the child in the white vehicle in the front seat, and then the second suspect, the driver of that white vehicle, takes off.
It's like, you wonder what's going on in your mind. Like, what makes you think that law enforcement's going to let you get away at this point?
You're desperate.
You're clearly not thinking straight. It
So-
just doesn't make any sense at all.
And this is when he ran into the building, Tanya. He jumps out of the vehicle as the suspect there in the white shirt, and then he just ran into that building carrying the child in the car seat. So now the question is, what is his relationship to the child?
Is that his kid?
Is that his child? What is his relationship to the guy who helped him flee
Try to
from
flee,
police
yeah. I
and
mean,
get
that
away from
person's gonna be,
police?
facing some pretty serious charges too.
And this right here is a live picture of the situation right now at the early Head Start at Lake West at Bickers and Goldman Street, where a chase, thank God, has come to a peaceful end here in West Dallas. After that chase began in Rockwall, the suspect leading police on the chase through the city of Garland. The lieutenant there in the city of Garland said they went through this city so fast.
Wow.
By the time we looked up, they were already gone. And then they went through Dallas. The suspect went in and out of some neighborhoods, then jumped back on the freeway. Eventually, one of his buddies picked him up, and they ended up here.
You know, and you have to wonder, did police know there was a child in the car to start with? I'm guessing the answer is no, but I mean, that's a total guess at this point. But I mean, can you imagine some of the shock, if they didn't know, from law enforcement, of seeing him hop out of one car and get in the other car with a child? You know, that's going to change the dynamic of that chase. Right, absolutely. You're going to have to, and clearly the law enforcement appears to have handled this very well. And I guess, is that him? Oh, that's the child still.
That is the child still. The suspect is wearing a white T-shirt. His buddy, fellow suspect number 2, was wearing a black T-shirt. But there you see the fellow police officer bending over, making sure that
baby's okay.
The baby's okay, and that
Wow.
that he or she, I can't see if that's a female or male police officer there, but it's just showing some tenderness to the child, which we love to see.
Yeah, and you wonder, like, it's hard to tell how old that child is. I mean, it looks like
Months.
maybe 6, 9 months.
Months
I don't know.
old.
It's hard to tell.
Yeah, that child's months old.
Wow.
Not even 1 yet. Coming from 2 moms who know what a 1-year-old look like.
Yeah. Although mine does not look 1
All right.
anymore.
So before we want to thank all of you for joining us for our digital coverage of this live police chase that came to a peaceful conclusion here I'd say about 45 minutes after it started. So for those of you who are just joining us, let us take you through what happened. The chase started at just before 2:30 this afternoon in Rockwall. A suspect driving a blue Dodge Charger led police on a chase through Garland, through Dallas, and then in Dallas, the suspect pulled over with a child in his car, that child in the baby car seat, and then a suspect number 2, as you're about to see here, pulls up beside that blue vehicle where the suspect there in the white gets out, grabs the child in the car seat from the back seat, jumps into the front passenger side of that white vehicle with the child, and then the suspect, number 2, driving that white vehicle, takes off, and about 10 minutes later, they ended up at the early Head Start at Lake West facility where that initial suspect runs into the building with several law enforcement officers behind that suspect, and about 5 minutes later,
Yeah, it all ends pretty quickly.
it all ended quickly.
I mean, it doesn't look like he was armed or anything like that. It just appears that he ran into that facility as kind of a last
out
ditch.
live now.
Yeah, last ditch effort.
And I believe we have an ambulance there on the scene, Tanya.
I,
What are officers doing now with those suspects?
Well, they need to. They're going to take them down to headquarters, presumably in Rowlett, and read them their Miranda rights and see if they want to give statements. At this point, you have to be very careful in terms of how you handle them, in terms of not violating their rights and all that kind of stuff. Miranda. Now, if they make statements of their own volition, well, that's on them. But they're going to be checking them out, making sure they're not armed. They're going to be checking their criminal histories. Do they have warrants? And they're just going to be kind of figuring out who these people are, because it's not clear that they knew who this person was before they started chasing him. We don't know if they knew who this. They're just in the process of trying to figure all this out, and then they're also trying to figure out who's this baby?
Who is the baby?
Like,
yeah.
Is the baby the child of the guy, the initial guy in the blue car, or is he the child of the person in the white car, or is this child just, were they babysitting? Like they're going to be. Of course, now we see them leaving with the baby, and you wonder, does the mother know? How's the mother connected to all this?
Police have a lot of phone calls to make because if you do not find a family member, the child ends up in foster care.
Well, I'm guessing right now they're also asking, in terms of questioning the guy, asking him, about the baby, because they've got to figure out. But yeah, I'm guessing that CPS will probably be called at this point.
Absolutely.
I mean, I guarantee if CPS hasn't already been called, they will be called.
Yeah, CPS.
And most likely CPS will temporarily take this child into custody. And try to sort things out, because obviously this child was placed in a very very dangerous situation. Absolutely.
And at first, when we first saw the suspect going through Dallas, there was just one DPD unit behind him. DPD has a very strict chase policy, right?
They do. It's very back when David Kunkel was chief in the mid 2000s. Dallas used to have a lot of deaths related to chases, and so he dramatically tightened the chase policy in Dallas to where they don't chase stolen vehicles, or generally do not chase stolen vehicles. It's generally just felony suspects. Obviously, surrounding departments are going to have different policies. But again, we know that they were chasing a stolen vehicle in this case, but we don't know a lot about what triggered that chase. Were they already following this guy? Like, what were the facts and circumstances? There's just a lot of questions. And when did they become aware that there's a child in the car? You can see them walking away with the child.
Walking away with the child. Don't know where that child is headed. Perhaps the hospital to make sure that the child is okay.
Well, you see them taking them right
Putting
there.
them right into the ambulance.
Yeah, you want to get the baby checked out by paramedics, make sure everything's okay. Wow.
And then from, presumably right now, CPS is already on the case. Everyone making phone calls to find out who this child belongs to and how this child became a part of this very dangerous situation that thankfully ended peacefully here.
Yeah, I mean, this is just kind of but for the grace of God kind of situation, clearly.
Well, we want to thank you for joining us via our digital channels for our coverage of this live police chase. We will bring you the very latest ahead on News 8 at 4, 5, 6, and 10. We'll see you then.
we bring the Delkus.
Good afternoon and welcome to GMG Extra. I'm Hannah Davis. Y'all know that earlier this week it was Halloween, so we all dressed as powerful female icons in history. I was Jane Goodall, Jane was Barbie, and Paige took a page out of the Wild West. You know, the National Cowgirl Museum and Hall of Fame celebrates women, past and present, who have shaped the West from all walks of life. So Paige dressed in her Annie Oakley best and went to the National Cowgirl Museum in Fort Worth to check out their incredible display.